What's the easiest choice you can make? Window instead of middle seat? Picking a vendor who sends a great gift basket? Outsourcing business tasks you hate? What about selling with Shopify? Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit a million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try. Go to shopify.com/try now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/try.
O'Reilly. You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge, just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
No music, no intro. I think I still know how to do this. It's been a while. Hashtag Saints Twitter podcast. We haven't put out an episode in a while, but Ryan and I decided, like, we did.
Man, we still out here. We here, man.
We did the most. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. So any of my white listeners, like, I don't want you to like tweet this or whatever. But like, we really did like the most niggerish shit ever, and like, we got a Patreon and like got some donations, and then like just no more episodes. Like, that was not on purpose.
Yeah, that wasn't on purpose.
With just the lack of nothing going on in the NFL. Two,
nothing.
The nature of what's going on in the world. Like, there just hasn't been a lot to talk about. Like, and I don't know. I can't speak for Ryan. The last thing I wanted to do is get on the podcast and talk about like football, because like that's just not where my mind is. But there are some interesting things for us to discuss. So we figured we put out an episode just to like remind the people that like we here, like we ain't going nowhere.
We here, man. Like, me personally, I had so much going on just personally, just like regular life shit. And then, everything going on in the world, Black Lives Matter protests, all this stuff with COVID-19, the country, Trump, politics, global politics, just everything, man. I just was wild, like football, nothing was going on anyway. And I really had nothing to really just talk about. I didn't even feel like talking about football. I didn't feel like talking about anything, really. I just wanted to like tune out, like watch some stupid, lava, the floor is lava. And, I just wanted to just tune out, man. I didn't want to talk about anything. But we back. Shout out to the few Patreons we have. Shout out to y'all. Trust me, that money is going to go to good use. And we're going to make, like, when this season starts, if it's a short season or whatever, like, we gonna come with it. We gonna be dropping content like crazy.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head, man. Like, before we started recording, so this is the hashtag Saints Twitter podcast, and I was just telling Ryan, like I deleted my Twitter. Like, I don't want to be. It's nothing about like, I just don't want to be exposed to like loading that app and just being like inundated with just everything, man, just the world. Like, I just, I'm taking a Twitter detox where I'm just getting it out my system, and I just need to be like refreshed. And so that's something I did in terms of like a self-care thing of just removing that from my system. That said, I'm sure I've missed numerous things that have happened since I have done that. So we can kind of recap some things. There was a big signing in terms of the Patriots signing Cam Newton, and the most Patriot move ever. And I just think, like, let's be real. Like, if there's a season, and we can talk about if there will be a season, but like, let's stop with the whole like quarterback competition. Like, if Cam is healthy, he's a starting quarterback. Like, I like, the whole notion is just dumb to me that there could be any type of competition in New England between him and Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah. I mean, Cam Newton is the starting quarterback. I mean, we don't know what his health is looking like, but from everything we've heard, he's good to go. And if he's like good to go, like, okay, he's not going to be 25-year-old Cam. He's 31. But I mean, if he's just, I mean, the dude built like a defensive end, and
it's
I'm sure
crazy.
he can still move.
It's crazy to think that he's 31. Like, that's nuts to me.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. That was what, 2011 he got.
Yeah, oh my God, that's crazy. It's just, it's interesting in the sense that, at least for me, Cam has always been one of those players where I loved Cam at Auburn. I don't have a favorite college football team. Don't care about LSU, whatever. So I loved him at Auburn, everything he encompassed. So then he goes to, obviously, a division rival, and you kind of watch him from afar, like when you see highlights, and you're like, man, like some of his runs when he was like a rookie or his first couple of years, like I still remember that run. Yeah. That touchdown run he had against the Falcons where it was like a 60-yard, 70-yard touchdown. I still remember that run. Like, I've always appreciated him as a player. And so then he becomes a free agent. So it's like, man, it'd be nice if he could go somewhere where I could like really root for him. And then he goes to the Patriots, and I'm just like, all right. Like, can't even enjoy him. Can't even enjoy him,
man. And I mean, I know I'm pretty sure he's going to do well over there. And I'm interested just to see what it all looks like, man. Like, it's going to be so funny just seeing him in a Patriots uniform, Bill Belichick. Just seeing the New England Patriots with a different quarterback, like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's crazy.
Like, this whole season, this new season, whatever the season's going to be, like, man, this season is going to be like nuts.
And it would be this season where I would say that you can point out a storyline for 32 teams, something that's interesting, and we might not get to see a single down played. Like, this would be the season. It is also would be the season where, and I say this, try to be unbiased, in terms of roster and best roster, like, I would say the Saints have the best roster in the NFL, maybe not by a large margin compared to other top teams, but, pound for pound, I would say they have the best roster that they've ever had under Sean Payton. And it's like,
and we might not even have a season, or it'll be a shortened season, or it'll be a season that gets cut short, or, you know what I mean?
It's wild.
It's wild. It's Drew Brees' quote unquote last year, maybe, Like, man, like, this. I'm just hoping I'm just really wanting to get back to normal, man. Like, just normalcy. You know what I'm saying?
And I think what's crazy to me, and I said I had tweeted this on Twitter before I took my hiatus, is obviously what's happening in the NBA with their bubble, people getting takeout, it's, and then I think there's been like reports that people are calling to the hotline and like snitching and like, but I appreciate, and I mean, if we're all being real with ourselves, there's no way any sports at all should be taking place right now. Like, there just shouldn't. Like, let's be honest, there shouldn't.
Yeah.
But at least with the NBA, I can appreciate the effort in trying to, like, all right, like, we're going to try to make this as safe as possible. We know it's not perfect, whatever. And with the NFL, like, it's like, oh, well, let's hold like 35% like of your earnings in an escrow, and like they're like it, like the leader, and we've all known this about Roger Goodell or whatever, but the leadership and the lack of planning in the NFL, like the season's supposed to start in like 2 months.
Yeah.
as compared to like the NBA, like at least they're trying. It may not work, but like at least they're trying. Like California just got shut down. What 2-3 days ago, all over again. You telling me like there's gonna be training camp for the Rams and the Chargers? Like how? Like how is I don't get it. Like I don't understand it.
Got mandatory mask orders pretty much everywhere now. Even Alabama, the state instituted mandatory masks now. Like Alabama, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's real, man. Like, and I just, I don't know. I have no idea what I'm going to be looking at, like middle of September on a Sunday. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be looking at nothing. Like, there's going to be no football on. Am I going to be looking at some weird game with no fans in the stadium? How is that going to look? It's like, man, like this sucks. Like 2020, man, it can go away.
2020 is the fucking pits.
I mean, cause shit, man. We don't have much, man. Like football for me, man. That's just one of the few things I look forward to. Even after me kind of separating myself a little bit from the Saints fandom.
I would say it's. I look forward to it even more, separating yourself.
Right. I look forward. I enjoy the whole NFL. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, all of it.
I just think, and man, not having that since I've had it so long, like to think about not having it, I don't even know how to take that. Because like even when we had the lockout a couple years ago, everybody pretty much knew. Come time the season starts, they were gonna figure it out. NFL games was gonna happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? But with this, it's like you just don't know, bro. And it makes sense for them not to happen. Honestly,
I as someone who lives out in California, and we have one of the most what word am I looking for? Like aggressive governors in terms of like even when everything started with COVID-19, like he was like shut the shit down, mask, like he was on top of it compared to other governors in the US. The numbers went down, and then like we started like easing the restrictions a little bit, and then they're now worse than what they were back in like March and April. It's like it's hard for me to fathom how any sports can happen, not to mention football. Like you are like just the notion of football is just contradicts social distancing, and I don't understand how it's going to happen. I don't.
It's impossible. It's impossible. I mean, it's not possible.
And then something I had asked Greg is like, and I don't think anyone knows this, is like, well, let's say there isn't a season. So like, what does that mean for like? So as an example, Dak Prescott, like they didn't come to a contract extension for Dak. He's playing under the franchise tag like Kirk Cousins did. So if there's no season, like, what is he a free agent next season or?
Right.
I don't even know if people even know the answers to those questions.
I don't think so either. Like so many questions, not to mention college football, high school football,
Yeah,
like
when
these are the feeder systems of the NFL, and
when I read that one of like the prominent high schools, I want to say like in Dallas, because I'm from Texas, so football is king there in high school. Yeah. I want to say it was like in the Dallas area, like they said that there wasn't a season happening. Like that's a huge thing.
Right.
Huge. And I mean, we can postulate all we want. Like we don't know what it's going to look like. We don't, what have you. I just think that, of course, out of all and I don't want someone listening to this to be like, oh, like, why aren't you guys talking about the importance of the COVID and like live law? Like, listen, none of us are trying to downplay anything that this virus has done to the economy, to people who have lost loved ones. Like, that's not what we're not doing that. But also, this is a football podcast, so like,
we're talking about how it affects football.
Yeah, be depressing. So something that happened that to me is one of the most interesting storylines with the Saints is the Titans and Derrick Henry were able to come together for a contract agreement that pays him $12.5 million a year. Earlier in the offseason, you had Christian McCaffrey sign an extension that he's getting paid $16 million a year for a running back. To me, it's fascinating to see if and when the Saints may come to an extension with Kamara, and then what does that look like? Is such a fascinating topic of discussion for me.
Yeah, that's really like the biggest question because, he had such a great rookie year. Like, I mean, he was an alien. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was doing things that just made no sense week after week. Once he popped off with the Dolphins game, then the Carolina game, 2017, Adrian Peterson was gone, and then he just took off. And then, the next 2 years he had really good seasons. Last year he was really banged up, but still, averaged 4.7 yards per carry. His yards per reception were really down, touchdowns were down, and everything. But it's understandable.
But you saw when he was healthy last season, like the Texans game, and he won that Seahawks game. Like, he went up to Seattle and he won that game.
Exactly,
So we know what type of player he is. It just comes down to, like, what's the number? Like, what is the number of the average per year that makes sense to keep him and extend him?
Well, okay, you have to start at. He's going to start at McCaffrey numbers at least.
He has to. I mean, that he would be, because if we look back on it, those first 2 years by both of them, Kamara was when he was healthy, those first two seasons compared to Christian McCaffrey's, he was a better player. Like, that's no slight against C-Mac. Like, he's a dog.
And it was common to say that, like, man, the Saints got him in the second round.
Yeah.
Third round, shoot, he's doing better than McCaffrey. But, I think say they start, Aaron Kamara says, okay, I want the McCaffrey deal. Well, McCaffrey is like the sole driver of the Panthers, Panthers offense. Like, he, you know what I'm saying? He takes the load. Like, he carries a stupid load. Like, that's what's most impressive about him is, like, the load he carries it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
He carries a similar load that Derrick Henry does, and their body types are too drastically different.
Now, when Ingram was out for suspension in 2018, and he tried to carry a bigger load, he got banged up, which affected him throughout the season. And then his last season, his body took some banging, and the Saints have to keep a decent running back to spell Kamara, so whether that's a Mark Ingram or Latavius Murray. So, I mean, if they want to play that, they say, look, we won't pay you money, but look, you are a part of this offense. You're a key part of this offense, but you're not the only key to it, So you can't get McCaffrey money, but maybe we could find somewhere in between McCaffrey and Derrick Henry or whatever, just find that sweet spot, I hope the Saints don't try to go Justin Eckler do him like that.
That would be disrespectful.
Well, Kamara just shut it down. They'll be shutting it down. He's gonna be a free agent next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. If they went that route, but if they can find that sweet spot, I've been saying I hope they should try to just maybe do a short deal, maybe not like a 5-year, but go like maybe like a 2 or 3 year and add one of those ghost years to it that Loomis likes to do. Where, he gets a nice big lump sum in the front, in the signing bonus or whatever, stretch it out over a couple of years. But that way you're not tied to the guy, because running backs, they just get injured. It just comes with the game.
And something when I was reading on the Derrick Henry extension is, you put in like the economy or the uncertainty of the season. And it's like, as a running back, it's like, man, I don't want to be messing around. Like, if they're going to pay me, like, let me get this guap. And because I don't know, I might not be able to get this later on. Like, I got to get this now. And I understand it, especially as a running back. Like, that position is just so volatile. it'll be interesting to see if they're able to come to an extension, or I see both sides to it, but I think it benefits them both to come to an agreement.
Absolutely, absolutely. And man, I'm telling you, if you show Kamara that money up front, and he's getting, say 25 million, like straight up, like straight up 25 million guaranteed in his pocket, signing bonus.
Because I think Derrick Henry got a 25 mil guaranteed signing bonus.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you come with that, like I think
that's hard to say no to.
Yeah, and then you don't time for so many years. So okay, in a year or two, in 2-3 years, you could double dip. You're still going to be in your 20s. So if you're still balling out, shoot, you can go and sign an even bigger contract with us or whoever. You know what I'm saying? So that's the approach I would take, but it's going to be, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. And the thing about Loomis and the Saints, like they make an offer, like he sets a number, and that's it.
That's it.
That's it. You take the number or you don't, and if you don't, you free agent them. You know what I'm saying?
Let's we can name the players. Carl Nicks, Mark Ingram. just from memory off the top of my head. I know that I think they had put a number out, and I don't want to act like I'm reporting this, but this is per Nick. Like they put a number out to who signed with the Lions? Jamie Collins. Jamie Collins.
Yeah.
like they'll put once that number is out, if it's not, it's like, all right, thank you, next.
That's our number, you know what I'm saying? Like that's it. And sometimes the number is kind of overpaying them, like, we talk about Pete. It's like, damn, that's what the number you came down at. But, that was their number. That was their number, and he took it like Pete. He said, shit, I think that.
It's funny because, again, with Nick reporting, the belief was he was potentially maybe going to sign with the Chiefs for even a bigger number, and so the Saints were surprised that they were able to keep him at the number that they kept him at, which to me is just absolute. I give the Saints and their scouting a lot of credit in a lot of different ways, but man,
they got played, man.
I hear that and I'm like, did y'all let Ryan Pace back in the front office for a couple of days? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, that's what they do. They set the number and they stick to it, man.
And that's it. I feel like we talked about Cam. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Patrick Mahomes signing. I feel like it happened and I kind of forgot about it. Signing a 10-year, but basically it's like a 12-year contract extension with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I haven't really even gotten to like the minutia of like the numbers and like, but like me and you talked about this offline. Like if he wanted to, he could have went to the Chiefs and said, you know what, I want a blank check. Like,
yeah,
I tell you how much I want you to pay me, and it's going to happen. Right. So I feel like he still let them off in terms of what he could have got from them.
Yeah. When I looked at the numbers, I can't remember what they were, but when I looked at them, it was like, okay, if you look at the whole contract, yeah, it's a lot of money, but like if you compare like the first like 4 or 5 years to like say Ryan Tannehill is actually making more money, which is crazy, right? And that's how the league works. They don't look 10 years; they look at the first 2 or 3 years of the contract. That's all that matters to them. So I mean, they made out good. Honestly, he could have raked them over the leaves if he wanted to. I mean, look at Dak. You know what I'm saying? Dak, he's gonna get franchised this year. Maybe he gets to 31. Then next year, it don't even look like the Cowboys will be able to afford the $37 million franchise tag next year. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, he's either gonna be a free agent or they're gonna have to show him the money, like for real, you know.
That's a fascinating situation.
I really don't know because people keep saying like Jerry Jones didn't want to pay him. That just doesn't make sense to me because Jerry Jones he gonna pay you. Like,
Yeah,
Jerry Jones takes care of his players. Like that's one you can say all what you want about Jerry Jones, all the problems you had with him. One problem he never had was taking care of his players.
Oh, they gonna get paid.
They gonna get paid because it's kind of like a rich guy buying a new car. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's how he looks at his players. Like it's kind of his property. I know that's kind of. But I'm just saying that's how you look at it. Like this is mine right here, and he likes paying his players. But I think from the reporting I saw, the real issue was over the length of the contract. But I think Dak wanted more of a short term, and the Cowboys wanted to stretch the money out a little more so they can spread out the cap, I guess, or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. For me, I'm gonna always like get your money, player. Like go ahead and get your money. But me, if I'm Dak, I'm like, man, you should have just took that. Because when you a Cowboy, bro, like you a Cowboy for life, man. Like not only the money you get with the team is just endorsements. Like everybody loves you. Like even when you retire, you're gonna be a part of the team. You're gonna be doing all kind of little extra gigs. You're gonna be like the first in line for ESPN or NFL Network, whatever.
Yep.
It's like that's a team like almost every player wants to play for. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's just my opinion. But he can, it's up to him. It's his money. Get your money, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because if he's a free agent next year, he can get pretty much what he wants.
Oh, easy. And it's funny because I didn't know about the whole. I mean, I know their cap situation is, dire, kind of like ours is, even though cap in itself. But like when you bring in like a cap number, like a quarterback cap number, like that's a different beast. When you start
different beast, man.
When you start talking about like you can finesse like wide receiver, running back, like every other position contract wise, you can finesse. Quarterback, you can't finesse that.
You can't finesse it.
You can't. So
what was crazy to me, I was thinking about when so many people was freaking out about Drew Brees' first new contract with the Saints, which was like what, $20 million. It was a $100 million contract, $20 million a year.
Yes.
And and everybody was just like, "Oh, the team's gonna fall apart." I mean, it kind of did. We could argue about whether it was because of that contract. I don't think it was. You signed players like Jarius Byrd and pay, Curtis Lofton $25 million and stuff like that.
Oh my God, I forgot Curtis Lofton played for his slow ass.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you really think about it, but like $20 million ain't shit now.
Nothing.
And that's just 8 years ago.
It's a drop in the bucket. I realized this when the whole Mahomes news came out. Is like every time in the past, I watched him play for the Chiefs, I felt like I was cuckolding myself. Every time, bro. Every time I'm watching the game and he makes an amazing play, I just want to put my.
You gotta let it go, bro. You gotta let it go, man. You gotta let it go. And I understand, like because you was on Mahomes for anybody I knew. You was on Mahomes.
I just saw it, man. Like everything that he is now, he's the same exact player. Like everything he did at Texas Tech, he's just doing it in the NFL. Like nothing has changed. Not a single thing about his game has changed. And I remember when he came out that year, that draft, and I was on Twitter and I said, I believe he will be a better like his peak is being a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. And I think you had said like, even if he doesn't hit his peak, like he could be like a Matthew Stafford level quarterback. Yeah. And I mean, he's far exceeded that.
Oh my God, come on.
But like I made that proclamation and I was confident in it, and it's whatever, man. You can't tell me like just like I think it would have been different if it was like 5 picks away, like
But like if we was picking at 21 and
yeah,
but
like,
we're not getting
right. But like I feel like Marty, in Ozark season 1, just watching the tape. taking notes, like
taking notes on the tape. How many smacks?
So something we didn't have an agenda in terms of doing the show, but just quick topics I wanted to talk to you about is let's pretend the season does happen. I don't like if you're listening to this, spoiler alert, I don't think the season's gonna happen, but let's pretend it does happen. What are like some two interesting storylines, player team wise that you're really like the super interesting that you're looking out for?
Let me think. You go first.
The first one that comes to me is, and I don't know if I'm going to lump them together, the development of Marcus Davenport and the development of Traquan Smith. Say what, a lot can be said about Traquan, but something that I'll give him credit for is he scores touchdowns. Like, he puts the ball in the paint, which is a huge plus, but there's just that inconsistency with him regarding injuries. And then, does he really know the offense? Like, obviously that's the big question in terms of what holds him back. But, and I'm not optimistic about this, but if there's like a chance that he can just be a decent number 3, because you got Mike, you got Manny. So
if he could be like 2009 Meacham,
that's it.
Like say Colston is Mike Thomas, Lance Moore is Sanders, and just be Meacham. You know what I'm saying? What Meacham had like 800 something, 900 yards that year. I wouldn't even expect that from
no
Traquan, but just be that type of player where you might have those 2 or 3 games where he has 5 catches for 100, 130, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. And that's it. That's all we need.
I think the only big difference is like back then when Meacham would run that deep post when he split the safety.
Put that thing up, boy.
Put it on him.
Drew, man, I tell anybody just go back and look at like the 2009 highlights, man. But it's funny because even back then we would talk about Drew's arm, like, oh, he doesn't have like a cannon arm. When you look at it now, like, man, Drew was slinging that thing,
bro.
He was putting it up, and he had air under it. It was, velocity.
When he would hit that drop, and then he would step up in the pocket and just, woo,
that thing was coming out. But if you think about, go ahead.
I'm just saying, 2020 Drew, like that route, and that ain't gonna hit like it used to.
The ball spinning, the ball kind of fluttering down. Yeah, you just kind of looking at it like, ooh, is he going?
It's like when he threw that deep one to Ted Ginn against the Eagles first play.
I was so embarrassed, man. I was like, turn this shit off.
First play, right? I was like, ugh.
It's gross. That was disgusting. That was disgusting. And then, but when you think about Meacham, though, I can't remember his stats, but like his first 2 years weren't impressive.
No, they were not.
Like, he did some like, kick returns. He had like a few other plays in there, but he was injured. So it's kind of similar to kind of how Traquan's been. So if he could just kind of be healthy and just, take on a little more of the offense, like you say, he's not going to have the pressure on him to be a number 2. So just kind of make plays when you're there. You know what I'm saying? That'd be nice if he steps up.
And I think if he's able to do that, and like maybe because I haven't seen football for so long, but like it sounds crazy to say, but like the impact of what Taysom Hill does on the offense is kind of crazy when you think about it. So like they have so many weapons to attack defenses, so many that however they want to attack them, they can do it. But if Traquan could be consistent, like that would like unlock a different like another element of the offense that I feel like is still missing a little bit.
Right.
So we're not, because we remember how it was thinking like, oh man, this Austin Carr, like if he could just like if Traquan could be that answer, I think it could do a lot for the offense and unlocking it to its full potential.
Man, we need a season, man, because when you look at it, you got him, you got Mike Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Traquan. See, Traquan steps up. Then you have Jared Cook. You have Adam Troutman. Let's say he steps up and is a decent, decent weapon.
All he has to be just be more athletic than Josh Hill. Like
that's it.
That's it.
And be good in the red zone.
That's it.
And then you got Kamara. Look, if you've seen the recent videos, he's healthy as hell. His thighs are almost like Barry Sanders thighs, not like that thick paws. And he's there, man. You know what I'm saying? Like he looks like he's serious. You get Latavius Murray back, and then he even got I called him a jag on the podcast a couple of months ago, Ty Montgomery. But I just been watching him working out. I've been looking at some more of his highlights. I don't expect him to have like a major role with the Saints, but Sean Payton gonna do something with him, man. Like Sean Payton is gonna find ways to incorporate what he does. Because, he's more elusive than, I called him like a Tavares Cadet, but he's a little more elusive than that. So that's just another way. But then you got Devontae Harris, who's trying to, in a recent interview I saw, he's trying to take it to the next level as far as being a receiver and a deep threat or whatever. And he's a guy who could not only go deep, but he could, maneuver through traffic and stuff like that. So, I mean,
and then you add on all that you said. So you said all the weapons, right?
Yeah.
And then you add arguably the best tackle duo in the league, or tackle, bookends in the league. Obviously we know Armstead, we might get him for 8 weeks, whatever. But that aside, you have Eric McCoy, who had a great rookie season as a center, great. And it's not easy coming in and being a great center in the NFL.
It's not.
It's super. I can't even imagine. I play center, obviously not to that level. That is hard. So you have them.
Remember Matt Tennant?
Man. Brian De La Puente, baby.
Yep.
Olin Krutz, we have gone through. We have done some centers, man. You draft Cesar Ruiz, who in theory is a huge upgrade to Larry Warford. And then if Pete can be okay. Just okay with what they paid him, he better whatever. But that's a top 3 NFL offensive line.
And we ain't even mentioned Taysom.
And loaded, bruh. Loaded.
Man, come on, man. COVID-19, just take a little break. Take a little break for 4 months. You could come back with a vengeance. Come back with a vengeance next February or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But just take a couple of months off.
Loaded, bro. It's insane. And that's no. And I don't know. Well, I know how, because I know the answer. But if the offensive line is playing well, I don't know how you stop that offense. I honestly don't. I don't care what defense. We've already seen what Sean Payton can do against the 49ers defense. And I remember going into that game, I was like, I don't know, bro. Nick Bosa, there are not a lot of defenses that quote unquote scare me as a fan when it comes to the Saints. But going into that game last, I was like, yeah, that's a good ass defense. Yeah. And Sean Payton did a masterpiece and was ripping them apart all game long.
Yeah, him and Breeze, they just tore it up. And I don't think anybody really tore that defense up like that except the Saints.
Except the Saints. That was it. Even the Chiefs didn't tear up the and I went into that Super Bowl thinking, man, I saw what we did against the 49ers defense.
They gonna tear them up.
And they didn't. They did not when the chips came, number 15 did his thing and he won that thing, but it was not the same as Peyton had when we played them. So It's loaded, man. It's absolutely loaded, and we don't know how it's gonna look.
Right. And like you said, Davenport, such an important piece, man. And it is like this season is so important for him because, next year they have to make a decision on the fifth year option. So they would have to, decide to give him that fifth year option next year when he's going into his fourth year. And that's important. That's going to tell you everything they think about him. If they had to do that now, would they? I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we've seen the potential, but he's been injured and bad injuries. Like your foot, as a defensive end, your foot is like your toe and all that stuff. Like that's extremely important. So it's so important for him to just try to figure out how to stay healthy and take that next step. He's yet to have an off season with the Saints. Yet.
Nope.
He's yet to have an off season with Ryan Nielsen, the defensive line coach, to learn all the different pass rush moves and the different nuances to reading the offensive lines and all that stuff. Hadn't had that yet, man. So I'm really like he is such a major key to the Saints defense because if he could just be like he was already when healthy, real solid, and flashed a ton. But if he could just step it up like a notch or two and, beat tackles consistently, be a force of the run game, and just, turn a lot of those almost sacks into real sacks. Woo! Like, man, like it's serious, not to mention the secondary that you have. That's what I'm really like. You asked me what I was thinking about. I'm really interested in how the whole secondary plays out, with Jack Rabbit, being the opposite of Lattimore, seeing if Lattimore finally starts the season,
like not
really just
not sleepy,
not sleepy, like really just like, dude, you got all the talent. Like nobody denies you like one of the most talented corners in the NFL. Like you have all the tools available to be the guy. You could be the Revis. You know what I'm saying? The new Revis or whatever. Like you can do it. Like you have the ability. We've seen it. We've seen it. His rookie year. So all you got to do is be consistent with it. Yeah, you're gonna get beat from time to time, but we just don't let's not have these games where it's just like what the hell is Lattimore doing? You know what I'm saying? So if he puts that together, and then Jack Rabbit doing this thing on the other side, then you got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and you got P.J. Williams still in there, and you got Marcus Williams hoping he steps up, and who's he's been really good, but just steps it up a notch and stops some of those boneheaded plays where he's tackling his own guy or missing a tackle or whatever. Like, dude, like man, like that's like the Saints are serious, bro. Like
loaded,
serious.
bro. Loaded, bro.
I mean, they even got a kicker. They got a clutch kicker. They got a clutch kick returner. You know what I'm saying? It's like.
And God said, not this year, not.
Oh man!
Hit the T1000 finger wave like no, not gonna happen.
I always wonder why he didn't why didn't he kill Sarah Connor right there?
Oh, you doing movie logic? All right.
I always wonder that though, because he had remember.
Well, if correct me if I'm wrong, he was programmed to kill John Connor. He wasn't programmed to kill Sarah Connor.
But there was the whole thing with like anybody he copies, he killed. Remember, he had copied her.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. Maybe I got to rewatch it again.
I mean, you could always watch T2. Like
anytime, bro. You can ask my wife. She gonna say, "What? This again?"
Bruh, my 10-year-old daughter loved Terminator 2. Like, she was like, that's really good. Damn.
That's what I'm talking about.
Damn right it was. I'm trying to think if, if we're missing anything. Have they decided about preseason? Like, is that scrapped? Like, I know they were.
Still don't know. Still don't know. The NFLPA and the NFL are still kind of talking it out. I think the players, they don't want any preseason games. And the NFL wants like 2. So they're still trying to argue that out.
Here's the thing. And I had tweeted about this a couple of times. I am terrified for the players. I just feel like if there is a season, that's a huge if. The amount of injuries of ACLs, Achilles, and like, I just that ramp up period of not doing anything, like, and I think we saw, like, the perfect example was like Dez Bryant, although he was out of the league, but whatever, like, he was still keeping himself in shape, he was still working out, blah 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 blah. Yeah. But doing that on your own, as opposed to doing like a football workout with a team, are 2 drastically different things.
Drastically different. And
I think a big concern that I have, not just for the Saints, just for the NFL in general, is that are we going to see and I worry about it in the NBA, because I know they're doing like their ramp up. They're going to have like 2-3 weeks, whatever. But I think because they're supposed to resume the season on the 30th. In 15 days, there's supposed to be basketball.
Damn.
Which is crazy. But I just worry about that in terms of injuries. Like, athletes their bodies are so already at a different level, and then they have like this baseline of that their body isn't used to, and then they're going to get back, and you're going to ask them to just jump back into being an athlete, like a football player. Like, I don't want a whole bunch of injuries to, like, if there is any type of season, to like mar the season, where like a lot of big names and a lot of players get injuries for, because of everything that's going on.
Yeah, you can see that too. I could definitely see that happening.
But
what's funny is we might not even see the tweets, because NFL protocol, like,
that's right.
The media can't watch, they can't tweet during camp, they can't watch camp. It's gonna be completely different. Like,
you know what?
They won't be able to interview players.
I don't mind that. And I'll tell you why.
I don't either.
I hated, especially when I was like super, like when the fandom was at like the peak, when it was training camp and I'm tied to my phone on Twitter and it's like, player X is not at practice, and it's like, what? Is he okay? Like, did he get in? Like, I hated that. Like, and I thought about it. I was like, I didn't feel like before Twitter and like this constant knowledge, like I didn't feel this way before.
No, you just got a little training report after, like, the next day, what happened at training camp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If a player got injured, like, okay, they got injured, but like you're not like thinking, like you're not checking Twitter like for updates and on forum, like, so I don't mind that. Like, if there is a football, go ahead.
What I hate was the so and so players leaving off the field walking gingerly. Like, it's like, oh no, you're flooding, Catherine Terrell or whoever is like, what's going on? And then he's like back on the field, like 10 minutes later, he needed some water and stretch or whatever.
Or a player could be walking off gingerly and like their Achilles could be torn. Like you have no clue.
Yeah.
No clue. No. So I don't miss if there is football, I won't miss that feeling of like checking. And even as I've gotten older and as my fandom has kind of changed, I don't like this last training camp. Like, I wasn't even checking for updates like I used to, back in the day.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But anyway, I'm trying to think. I mean, is there anything else that we can hit on? I think we hit on a lot.
Yeah, I think we pretty much hit on everything, man. But I just, I really don't know what it's gonna look like. I'm pretty sure. I know you're not positive NFL games are going to happen. Just from what I've seen from the NFL this season with all this COVID-19, they're going to start an NFL season. Like, they are dead set at starting it. Some type of way they are going to play football. But my thing is, like, what happens once it starts? Is like, what happens when Drew Brees gets COVID-19? What happens when the head coach Bill Belichick gets COVID-19 and has to go to the hospital for, a week or something, or, so many different things, like so many different scenarios. The coaches, So many of the coaches are older guys, not in the best of health. The scouts and the trainers, the equipment guys. These are older guys who've been around for a while. How does COVID-19? We think like, oh, okay, you get COVID-19. If you're a healthy guy, you get over it. Not everybody just gets over it. You have breathing issues. You have lung issues. You have blood pressure, kidney issues, all kind of things. And you expect them to go play football. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just gonna be weird, dude.
I mean, and think about it too. Like, obviously, and I think it's different. So much. I think it's a lot different with the NFL compared to like the NBA. But let's use an example of like an offensive lineman.
Yeah,
they're bigger. They're obviously they're offensive linemen, or even maybe like whatever. Let's just say linemen in general. They're bigger. They're quote unquote overweight, even though their weight is for their position.
Right.
Like they are like an offensive lineman or lineman in general is a prime like targeted type of person that COVID could affect drastically.
Yeah, absolutely.
On top of that, the league is made, is consists of mostly African Americans that have potential asthma issues in it because that asthma runs very high in African Americans. So it's like, someone gets COVID and like for me, example, I have asthma runs in my family. So if a player were to get COVID and he has asthma, then what? Like, there's talks that some players don't even want the season to start. Like they don't want to play. Like they don't feel comfortable playing and playing football, which I 100% get. Like I understand it. And you have players that feel this way, and then the NFL is like, you know what? Well, how about we just take some of your money, just put it
and keep it in escrow? Like what? I know they didn't even think the players would accept that shit. But then you got players that's, on the edge, like, you know what I'm saying? Older players or young players that's just trying to get on the team. Shit, they probably might have COVID and try to play through it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
listen.
About that shit.
Right?
I'm serious, man. They gonna be like, shit, I don't care about them COVID-19. I'm about to get out there.
Let's say there is a season and whatever, and the playoffs happen, and there's a playoff game, and like a star player can't play, and like because they have COVID, I could just see a situation. You know how it is in NFL. Like some teams care more about injuries opposed to others, right? Some like if it's a playoff game, like conference championship, your star player, running back, whoever has COVID. Is that player not going to play, or is that team going to keep that shit under wraps and be like, if you don't,
or say he has COVID and he's asymptomatic, he's completely fine, but he has COVID-19. They do a test and he has COVID. Man, you don't think coach could be like, man, get your ass out there, man?
If you don't go run a slant route right now.
Go run that slant, man. Shit. Like, man, this is the NFL UFC championship.
Come on, man. Like, it's just, I don't. It's just wild, man. It's just absolutely wild. like.
Yeah, this is crazy, Pete.
It's crazy, man. We'll see how it's going to unfold, man. Like, it's going to be interesting. That's all I know. We'll see how it unfolds. Training camp's supposed to start on the 28th, which is like in 13 days?
Yeah, man. That's the plan.
We'll see. Okay. Countries in shambles, countries in a pandemic, but like I'm supposed to believe that there's going to be an NFL training camp in 13 days. Okay, I guess.
I'm trying to think. Has anything else Saints related happened the past couple of weeks? Like it's been nothing. Finally. Nothing. Poor Drew Brees was trending after Deshaun Jackson posted that. Like, why is Drew Brees trending?
they was owning him. It's funny too because I knew after the whole Drew thing happened, I was like, man, like it's gonna take one of us do one thing wrong, and it's a wrap. Like, and sure enough, Deshaun Jackson was up to the challenge.
He took it.
They emptied them, and them drafters was empty because they was ready.
They was ready, boy. Like he was ready. He couldn't wait. And then what else happened? Yeah, I mean, poor Drew. He apologized twice, you know. And now he's just trying to live his life, man. Like, leave that dude alone.
Leave Drew alone.
Eminem saying F. Drew Brees on a song and all that. Like, damn, man.
Oh, man.
But he did that to himself.
Oh, he did it to himself, man. Like, he got nobody to blame for us. It's crazy to think that whole, like, Yahoo Finance and that whole thing with Drew feels like ages ago.
Ages, bro.
Feels like it was 5 years ago. It was only like, what, a month?
Damn.
Oh, wow, bro. Just wow. Yeah, man, we'll be back. Like I had like some, you know, we're still going to try to get some guests on here, but like it's the way Ryan and I see it, like we don't want to waste people's time. We don't want to waste our listeners' time. So we're not going to get people on here if there's not much to talk about. Like,
yeah,
it's no point in having a conversation that's not organic and making up stuff to talk about, you know, if there isn't anything to talk about. So don't worry about the podcast. That's why we got on here, started recording. You know, we really wanted to give the people something. You know, let you guys know that we're still out there. We're still doing it. Before we go though, I wanted to announce that I looked like last week or a couple of days ago before I took my Twitter hiatus, and I am at like 996 blocked accounts.
Damn.
So whenever my Twitter hiatus ends, I don't know how long. It may be a couple of weeks. It may be a couple of months. It just depends on how I feel. There will be some type of announcement when special block 1000 happens. be a little ticker tape parade. But that we're gonna get out of here. You guys can follow Ryan on Twitter at thatboywolf. Don't try to follow me. It's pointless, especially because I'm not on Twitter right now. Anything before we get out of here, man?
No, that's it, man. Just check us out, subscribe. You know, podcasts will be dropping soon. Once you know the season starts, if it starts, even if it doesn't start, we're gonna be podcasting. So
you know,
just stay tuned.
How smart are we that we decided to start like a podcast, a football podcast, like the year where there may not be football?
Unreal.
Like we didn't think this one out very well. Although I will say back in, because we did our first episode around the draft time, so I won't say that was like back in like March or April. I don't think that we thought that the world would, like, we thought like, okay, like this will pass. Like, nah, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, we were like, oh, you know, it's gonna be straight back come August.
Rona's like, nah, still here. So all right. With that, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks for everyone's support as always. We love you guys. We love our listeners. And with that, we're out.
Peace.
O'Reilly.
You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.